Hey guys, Josh at Double Edge Sharpening, and I've got a pair of Kasho texturizers here that have a major issue. So we're gonna see if we can fix them and get them back in working order. So come along. All right, so these texturizers, client came in from out of town. They drove up from Erickson, Manitoba, I believe. And he said that he had an issue with his texturizers. He hit something hard. And looking at them, it doesn't take long to see what the issue is, obviously. And let's see if I can show you well in here. That light is a little bright. On the blade, can you see right about here? I'll see if I can get out of the way and if it'll focus. On the blade, it is a huge gouge out of it right here. There's lots of metal. It's almost like he hit something hard, something metal. So right now, as we click them together or slide them together, they're actually hitting pretty hard there. Not sure if you can hear that. So we need to basically sharpen this up enough metal that we're taking out that gouge. Don't know if this is showing up. Right there, you see that bright shiny spot right there? It's a huge nick. Little tricky to see right there. Do you see it? Do you see that big V? There we go, that's better. Right there. So that we need to sharpen this all the way down so that enough metal that we flatten that out all the way across the entire length of the blade, and then re-convex this because this is a convex blade. So we're gonna take this apart and work it. So let's get to it. Basically, you're just gonna join me on this. So that's kind of going through this, looking through, inspecting the shear before we even take it apart. Yeah, it's a little choppy there, and that's affecting the whole thing closing. I mean, we can do a test. Let me pause for a minute and go get a piece of paper towel so we can at least test it before and test it after. Okay, back with some tissue paper. All right, tension. I mean, at this point, I also don't want to put too much tension on it because I don't want that nick damaging any of the teeth. And when I inspect the teeth, or the ride line on this, on the teeth as well, I don't see any bent or damaged teeth. I think whatever he hit damaged the blade only on this. But, so what do I do for test? Thumb out into a piece of tissue, not tissue, this is paper towel for the texturizers. And just closing it, and it just folds it. Not even pulling it apart. So obviously, these need a lot of work. So the first thing we're gonna do, take it apart. Clicker plate sounds like it's okay in here. So use my little UFO tool here. I have to say they look fancy, but I prefer the thumb exterior screws. They're just a little bit easier to manage. But as we take it apart, we're gonna make sure that all the pieces are intact. We wanna make sure that clicker plate is in good condition, that it's in the right location, it's sticking out, sound like that. If there's any other washer, looks like this one's actually got a secondary nylon washer inside on the clicker plate side. But if it's in there good, we will just leave that there. And then we're gonna take the screw out. Washer came out with that screw. Put those aside so we don't lose them. The last thing you wanna do is drop. Again, and hopefully you can see what we're doing here. Bring you in a little closer. All right, so we're gonna clean up these. Just get rid of any gunk that's on it. Some blue paper towel. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is check the ride line on the blade too. Now that I got them apart, take a look. Obviously, if this was a normal shear that didn't have damage that I was already aware of, you know, run my finger across here to see if there's any other. I mean, obviously it's right there. I'm gonna check the ride line. Don't know when these were last sharpened. Ride line is there, so it's good and established. But we got this nick in this one is right up past the ride line, so we've actually got a lot of metal to take off, which is too bad. So this is why it's important to be careful when using your shears, because if you can take care of them and protect them, then you're actually going to increase the length and longevity of your shears, because the less metal I can take off as a sharpener each time they need sharpening, better, and it's going to last longer. But in this case, I don't know how much of the ride line we'll be able to reestablish right now with this nick. We're just going to check it. Not bad, actually. So we did remove all the red along the entire length of the blade. So we do have that right there. I just marked too much in the middle. We'll wipe that off after. But you can see we've got a ride line. But we still, you can see, I think you can see in there where the damage is. Right there. Okay, so we've got the ride line semi-established. Okay, you probably won't be able to see me. I'll come over here. Maybe we'll raise this up a little higher so you can kind of get a taller view. Okay, there we go. All right. We're going to start with a lower grit. I believe, what grit is this? Usually I start with a 500. This is a 320. That's pretty low, but what that'll allow me to do, and it's worn, it's not a fresh 320. What this will allow me to do is take off enough metal fairly quickly and reconvex it, and then we can work our way up and go to like a 500 and then the 12 and the 15 and get a nice polished edge. The last shear I worked on this was left-handed. So we're going to set the angle, start at 45, see where that gets us. These are Kasho shears. Typically higher end shears, if they're made properly and you're buying them, they are a higher angle. We'll do a scratch test here. Although these are texturizers. So that was my thing. But texturizers usually are at a lower angle, but this one is at a 45, and that's good. We don't want to take off too much metal. All right, so we're gonna work this. So the first thing we're gonna do is just work it up and down to get a burr, but also go up enough that we're removing enough metal that we're past this nick. And it's going to be quite a bit. Well, let's check it every once in a while. So like already I have a burr. If there was no damage in this blade, I'd already be re-convexing it. But right now we got to work the entire length of the blade until it's gone. Still there. Put a bit of water on here. But we're getting there. It's going to take a little bit of work. And it seems like such a shame. We're about halfway through that nick. Such a shame to remove so much metal. But essentially these shears are inoperable. So it's either throw them out and buy a new set of shears, new texturizers, or work them. It's almost gone. Or work them so that the client can use them again. Now, I've done a few big nicks as I sharpen, and there are times where I'm trying to take the least amount of metal off, but what's happened is I haven't taken enough off. And then what ends up happening is I have to go and do the whole process again, start at the low grit, work my way up, and it's just taking too much time. So this case, we have to take a lot off anyway. we're going to try to do it in one go. But sometimes, you know, in a way, it's just like a haircut. You can't, I mean, the hair will grow back, but right away, you know, take a little bit off at a time, and you can always take more off later if it's not enough. Almost there. It's definitely... It's a lot of metal. I wish it wasn't this much metal. Now in this case, it's not because of the sharpener that we're going to be shortening the life of these shears. But accidents happen. I kind of go into the high schools and into the there we go. We're almost there. Into the there's hair schools here in the city that I'm at, and I do presentations on protection of your hair shears, maintenance of them. Then we talk about sharpening, and from another sharpener, he used this acronym called SPA. And now I'm blanking on what SPA stands for. Oh man. But P in SPA is protection. And part of that has to do with what do you carry your shears in when you're transporting them, where do you put them when you're not using them. Now I'm going to re-convex it and see where we're at. I think we're going to still remove a bit of metal when we go up the grit, up to 500. So I want to re-convex this and see what it looks like. Got a lot to do here on this too, because this is, because we have to take so much metal off, we're going to have to re-convex this a lot to get it back to a full convex. And this one will take a little bit more work. Usually, if the shear is in good condition, usually about 15 minutes or so it takes me. There's still a little bit of that nick in there. And I don't know if I want to go I don't know how much. I don't want to go back again. 500 isn't going to take a lot out, but let's re-convex it here. And then we're going to go up to the 500 and take a little bit more off there, but polish it up. And then go up. The protection. You know, keep your shears in their case, in a breathable case. When you're actually working at your workstation, have a place where if they get bumped, they're not going to fall on the floor, like a tray that's stable. I know sometimes people have those trays on rollers, but the problem there is you bump it. And things fall off pretty quick, but then also whatever, if you hit something too, you could be cutting hair and hit, you know, a clip or something. All right, we're going to the 500. Go up. I don't know if we've got that. I think that's the burr that's like that. So we may have to go back and do this again. My hope is no, but at the same time, I'd rather not take off more metal than I need to. We're re-convexing this now and polishing up the entire length of the blade. so that we get right to the edge. All right, so now as we go up, we don't need to work a lot of it. We just need to kind of polish that edge and then convex the whole blade. So we just kind of work our way up and down, not so much, just to get it, and then polish and convex that whole blade. I'm thinking once we get this done, the client's gonna never know that he hit anything with it. Make the trip worth his while too. All right, up to a 15, then we're gonna deburr this and then polish it. Now we never sharpen the teeth. Hopefully, again, sorry if it's noisy, hopefully you can hear me. We're definitely gonna have to work the ride line a lot because we've taken off a lot of metal into that hollow. There'll still be a ride line. But if I couldn't convex, we'll see. I don't know if we got a burr on that damaged part. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to our lapping stone here. I'll move you guys so you can see. So right, bring it down here. Ooh, sound effects. All right, there we go. So we're gonna make sure I'm not in the way here so you guys can see here. All right, work our way back and remove that burr. And then we're gonna take a look and see how it feels. A lot of metal was taken off here. I think we got it. I think we got it. But now we have a lot of work to do to get that ride line back in here. And typically I would just work my way back. But in this case, I actually think I'm gonna work back and forth because we barely have a ride line right now. Don't know if you can see. There's really no reflection on the edge, see? So we're gonna work this. It's gonna take a little bit here. We're gonna pressure on the pivot point and back and forth. This is about 1,000 grit that I'm using right now. We want to reestablish that ride line because without that ride line, the shears aren't going to cross in the right spot. You need that ride line for alignment so that where the blade comes in contact with each other, that's where it slices. We're getting it. We're getting it. It's a little bit funny at the tip. It's gonna take a little bit of work. Lots of back and forth in this case, a lot of pressure. And today is a humid day. I am sweating. It says we're a CBN wheel, which I can get, and I don't know if you can see, I might be in your way here, sorry. A CBN wheel, very similar to these plates. I could reestablish that ride line. We're getting it at the tip actually quite a bit, which then just kind of shows that this might be out of alignment a bit, but we're starting to get it. It's a little weak in the middle and at the back. So we're gonna work our way up here and try to avoid the tip. Yeah, there is a CBN wheel that I'm looking at getting where what that would do is allow me to just place the shear on here and just work my way up and then take it off, and we would get a ride line established consistently really well. So we're starting to get it here. Yep, I can see lights reflecting now off the ride line, which is good, which is what we want to see. Which is exactly what we want. So a lot of pressure on the pivot point. Pressure here, and just finger on the blade and back and forth. Can add a little bit of pressure if we need, where it may not be touching. Okay, So we've got a ride line. And when I rub my finger on that part, I'm not feeling anything. So what we're gonna do is polish it up now. So this is a felt polish, or not felt, it's, well, it's not felt, it's actually like a, well, it's a very fine felt, actually. The gentleman, Brian, who trained me, actually provided me with this. He sent it by mail, and it says he's been having a lot of success with it, and I've actually really enjoyed it. And I use a 3-micron diamond paste on here, and so basically, we're basically just rework, and it polishes up real nice. And I've done a lot of shears on this without having to put a lot of compound back on. And the speed, and the felt just holds it real nice. It's not a thick felt, it's actually just like a microfiber kind of. It works real nice. So I'm going to take a look here and see. We've gotten rid of some of that burr, but we are getting rid of all those scratches, and we're getting a polished, mere polish. I'll show you in a second. That's pretty good. That's what I like to see. All right, back down. It's like an elevator. Okay. Keep me in here. All right, so there's our mirror polish after we've sharpened. Okay, and if we look, hopefully you can see again, we've actually removed the damage from the blade. And I can feel it. So what I'm gonna do, yeah, I think it's good. Just gonna work it a little bit more. I like to work it on the hone again, or the lapping stone after I polish, just to remove any burr and kind of reestablish that ride line one last time, especially since we polish it up if we pushed anything back. All right, we got a ride line. Next thing I want to do, and we didn't do this before, is I also want to work on the lapping stone, the teeth part as well, to just make sure that ride line on the inside of this blade is good. And it'll actually show me too if there's any parts of the teeth that are bent in, because then the ride line gets wider. But then also it works on the J part of the ride line where the two shears work together, the pivot. So let's take a look here. See if there's any. Nope, you know, all the teeth, the ride line is equal across. Again, not sure what you'll see. See the light going up and down on the tips of the teeth? That's the ride line, and it's pretty even. So now that we've got that here at the pivot as well, we're going to clean this up, use some isopropyl alcohol just to get rid of all that red marker, because the last thing you want the client to think is that you cut yourself all over the blade and then left the blood, but it's just red Sharpie. But this cleans it up good. And on here as well. Okay, now we got to put it back together and do the test. See if it works. All right, put it back together. Usually it's a circular hole and a square peg that goes in. Make sure you remember how you took the shears apart. Put it back in here. Clicker plate in with the nubbies facing up so that it catches on the screw. And then the screw back in. Now there could be a little bit of a burr on. Now the other thing that I haven't done yet is usually what I like to do to give the teeth a little bit of bite, and we'll do this before we close it up, is I like to take my Easy Lap diamond hone. It's super fine, and find the angle of those teeth and just work it down. And what that does is gives the teeth bite, because they're actually holding the hair when the blade goes to cut. And so you want that to be grabby. So before we close the shears, I'm going to do that. But we were going to find roughly the right tension without closing it, because there could be a bit of a burr on there. So that's starting to feel all right. It'll probably loosen up. But what we're going to do is open it up, take this, find the angle, and just lightly work down. And what this will do is this will give the teeth a little bit more of that bite. You can feel it. Feel it along the teeth, a little bit at the back here. It's not the nicest sound in the world. Okay, so before we close it up, we're going to do a kind of a pre-test cut on a piece of paper towel to get rid of any burr that might be on there. Oh, and even in that test cut, or that pre-test cut, it's a little loose though before I show you the result. So tighten it, keep it open, wiggle it. Don't do that with the blade closed, because then you'll damage it. Make sure you're open all the way. And that's just to get rid of any kind of tension that's not going to stay. This is not bad, but with texturizers, you like them a little tighter because you want them to close and pull that hair to shut it, or to cut it, sorry. All right, that's still a little loose. Just do one click at a time. Get rid of any of that tension. Also feel, again, getting close. But the other thing too is I'm closing it all the way without it catching. Now, I'm just looking at this now, and maybe you'll notice it. We had to get rid of a lot of metal on this blade. So, if you look at the teeth at the tip, focus. It's not quite closing all the way because we had to. It doesn't quite go all the way. See, look right there. You see the gap? So what we're going to do as well is the simplest trick with it. We don't want to bend the handle if we don't have to and anything like that. We're going to remove a bit of the bumper so that the teeth come together right to the tip. But listen to that. There's no clicking or ticking, and that's pretty good. So let's remove that bumper first. I take the 320 grit, turn it on, and just lightly tap the bottom and remove a bit of that rubber, and then look to see where I'm at. We're going to need to take a lot of the rubber off. We took a lot of metal out. Teeth are starting to come together. We're going to have to remove quite a bit. There, we're starting to come together. A little bit more. Again, you don't want to take too much off or you're going to have to replace the bumper. But in this case, there's a lot of metal. Like I said, a lot of metal taken off. All right. Okay. Now, can you see the teeth are crossing now? They're still not crossing a lot, but there's no gap in between there now. I might take a little bit more out, but let's test it. Let's give you guys, okay, thumb out, no side tension. Look at that, all the way. Did you see that? Again. Okay, here we go. Thumb out. Right through. Holes, holy, look at that, look at that. That is exactly what we want with these guys. So, this is a success story. We were able to take the client's broken shears, really damaged shears, and remove a lot of metal. Like I said, not my favorite thing to do. But now, it is cutting perfectly. All right, so this client is going to be happy about this. We've got it working again. If you like what you saw today and kind of talk about this, check out my YouTube channel at Double Edge Sharpening and my other videos. Subscribe if you like. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. This is Josh at Double Edge Sharpening. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.